think we might be able to beat Germany if I could just get a little bit of help from FDR and from Uncle Joe. Like, just to check to make sure the war is going okay. Let's look at Germany. You know what? No, I don't think we need FDR or Uncle Joe. I think we got this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Counterfactual Gaming, the gaming channel where if there's something historical in a video game, we don't do it. Now, before we get started, I'd just like to tell you that if you like what you see here, go ahead and put a like on the video or sub to the channel. And if you've got any questions, comments, or complaints about what I'm doing in the Baltic right now, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure and get back to you. I may not have a good answer, but I'll have an answer for you. And I'll also have an answer for why my mine-laying destroyers are attacking the German fleet. Now, today, I'm doing a video that's in response to what several of my users said they wanted to see. I polled the community and asked what kind of video they wanted, and it was pretty even between abusing naval mines or destroying war support to win the war. And after I did some experiments, I figured out I could do both. As you can see right now, I'm literally mining the Baltic, even as the Germans are desperately trying to defeat Poland. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be abusing naval mines for fun and profit, and we are also going to be abusing the espionage system to rip Germany's war support and stability to shreds. Now I'm going to go into my sort of pre-war build-up plan, and then we're going to skip around the war to see how I executed that plan. But I do want to say that both of these weird, kind of off-the-wall approaches to fighting Germany, there is a little bit of RNG involved in some aspects of it, and there are some issues with how you have to structure your economy to pull this off. So I don't want anyone to think that what I'm trying to show you what to do here is an optimal strategy. It's just a strategy that I thought was really interesting and fun. Let's talk about naval mines, and we're going to do this from the perspective of the victim. We have to understand what mines do. Naval mines are, very simply, you just send your mine layers out and they will add an incrementing value of mines to a sea zone. In this case, as you saw me mining the Baltic earlier, we're looking at that from Germany's perspective in October of 41, and you can see that we have penalties from mines. These include invasion penalties, naval speed penalty, which is the big one, and increased accident chance. Now, mines also can damage enemy ships. Light hulls like destroyers and submarines, if they hit a mine, they're usually just outright dead. Bigger ships, cruisers, battleships, carriers can survive mine hits, but you probably want to send them home. What we're going to see, though, is that you're probably thinking, oh, well, if we just mine everything, we can just sink the opposing fleet. But that only works if they actually send their ships out for more than a few hours at a time. Even with full mine coverage, mines just don't hit enemy ships instantly. But we want to pay attention to these debuffs. That naval speed penalty, that is what becomes the real killer. Because if ships get put into combat, their effective naval speed is penalized by this amount because they're trying to dodge mines, which means that enemy ships have a much easier time actually shooting at them with both guns and torpedoes. Now, this doesn't mitigate all of the problems we've seen with surface ship torpedoes last time, but it improves the effectiveness of all enemy fire. I also need to point out that mines also reduce the amount of naval supremacy you can put into a sea zone. So if you're facing a sea zone chock full of mines, like the lower Baltic here, the Danish Belt, Eastern North Sea, your fleets have to be much stronger to overcome that effect. And it's much easier for the opposing fleet to generate naval supremacy. What that means is, if the enemy is able to mine your entire coastline, you might have a hard time accomplishing any tasks at all. Because just to do anything, you may have to sail out, you might run into mines. But even if you're sitting in port trying to project naval supremacy via the strike force command, like we've got right here, your impact is so nerfed that you may not be able to accomplish much. And you need naval supremacy to do things, particularly invasions. That's where that's important. Now, I picked this timestamp because you can already see that I've tagged over to Germany, and Germany has not been able to attack Norway, nor have they been able to defeat Denmark. Why is that? Well, that's because Germany is almost incapable of generating the requisite naval supremacy to conduct amphibious invasions in this area because of all those mines. And there are allied ships in the area. The Danish Navy, because Denmark has not capitulated, the Danish Navy is still operating in the Baltic and the belts. Norway has not capitulated, so the Norwegian Navy is still operating in this area, generating some naval supremacy. Anytime the Germans sail out, they're putting their ships at risk of enemy attack. So let's start up a fresh game as Britain. Let's talk about how you can mine the ocean so quickly. Because you saw it in my introduction. I was able to mine the lower Baltic in just a few days. And then I was able to mine the Danish belts. And you saw that I have mines everywhere. Well, now how do I get to the maximum mine laying value that quickly? Well, the answer is you need around 180 ships capable of laying mines. The problem is if you try to build that many ships, you will run out. But Britain doesn't have to build all those ships. Britain starts with 128 destroyers and 42 submarines. Now, that may not seem like enough ships. You saw that I had more earlier. But if we go over here and we look at Britain's starting production, you can see that Britain has a whole bunch of destroyers and submarines that are already partially constructed. Now, Britain is also building some cruisers, and Britain has Ark Royal in the queue. But look at all these destroyers. Most of them are almost complete, and these subs, as bad as they are also almost complete. So Britain has a sturdy foundation of ships that can lay mines. How are we going to get them to become mine layers? Well, let me show you what you need to do. We're going to cheat in some XP here just so that you don't have to watch me play 3 years. What you would do is you take the entire British fleet, consolidate it into one big wad, put it in the North Sea, and just exercise it until you have the requisite naval XP. Doesn't take long at all. But once you've got the requisite naval XP, you come in here, and we're going to design some mine laying. Now, we're going to turn every submarine and every destroyer into mine layers. And we're not going to modify those ships in any other ways. So this class of submarine... Okay, so this is a submarine. We're going to call this... mine laying sub. Mine laying sub. Okay. And then we're going to decommission the S class. So now I can order every sub I have to become that kind of a sub. And then we're going to go here to my EFGH class, and we're going to strip all that stuff off, and we're going to add mine laying rails. And we're going to rename this mine layer tier 2. We do that. And then we're going to go look at my outdated ships. You saw they have some tier 1 destroyers. And we're going to go and grab my early destroyer hull, the A, B, C, D, and E class, rip off all that stuff. And we're going to put on mine laying rails. And we're going to call this mine layer tier 1. So all the tier 1 destroyers are going to become this kind of a destroyer. And all the tier 2 destroyers can become the other kind of mine laying ships. Now we have some mine-laying ships that are ready to go. But there's something else you need to do. Before you put a single ship into the queue to start refitting, we're going to go over here, go to Spirit of the Navy. And we see that we have the naval refit yards, 25% ship refitting speed. And we're going to go ahead and put that into place. That is going to cause Britain to refit super fast. Now that we know what the naval plan is, let's talk about breaking Germany's spirit. Germany starts with politics that look like this. National Socialists are in power with 60%, but there is some communist and democratic support in the country. Germany also has Goebbels, which adds 10% war support and daily fascism support. And the AI will appoint Goebbels, which means that if you're trying to wear down Germany's war support, You're not just fighting against the national focuses Germany has, you're also fighting against Goebbels. You're also fighting against the fact that the Nazi Party will continue to get more popular over time. Why do I care about party popularity? Well, if we take a look at stability, you'll notice that party popularity has a significant impact on stability. And stability, in turn, impacts political power gain, consumer goods, and factory output, and resistance target. So if Germany has high stability, Germany doesn't care what you do to it. Why does that matter? Well, what most people don't know, because they never get to see these events, because if you're watching this, you're probably used to playing a country that has 70% or better stability, 70% or better war support. What you don't know is that when you go lower than 50% war support or 50% stability, you start getting really bad events, including events that are mutinies, desertions. You get all kinds of crazy stuff, mobilization problems. Those events have an RNG aspect to it. This is why I mentioned RNG earlier, because RNG with those events will sometimes result in a country paying political power to get a positive effect, but sometimes they will instead pay political power but get a negative effect. So you can get them both below the threshold of 50%, which will also incur a number of just flat penalties to it. But on top of all that, you cannot orchestrate a coup against a major power unless their stability is below 35%. And what won't be obvious until I load up the save game, but let's go load up the August 39 save just so that it can show something to you. What's not obvious until you're at war is that your war support negatively impacts stability. So if you're going to drive down stability, you need to attack it from multiple angles. You need to reduce ruling party popularity. You need to run the foreign propaganda mission, which will also reduce war support. And you just need to reduce the war support of the country, because once that war support starts getting low, that negatively impacts stability, and the same mission that lowers war support also lowers stability. But this isn't just a question of spies. Spies can only do so much. The mission to lower war support, right here, you can see that I'm at 10%, but it's capped at 20%. That's as much effect as you can get. Same over here on stability. Foreign propaganda, the maximum impact it can have is 20%. So you're going to have to also boost Democratic Party support, but you also need to inflict casualties, and you need to bomb the opposing country. And if they have convoys, you can burn some of their convoys down. Our strategy is going to be thus. We're going to put some mines out to box in the Axis so they can't do anything. And then we're going to work Germany over, inflicting casualties. We're going to bomb Germany. We're going to use propaganda. We're going to boost democratic support until we can force the German government to face a coup. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we keep Germany constantly fighting. All right, we're at August of 39. Germany is on the cusp of finishing Danzig or war. We know the war is about to start. You can see that I have all those mine layers and all of those mine layers, and I've got them consolidated into a mine-laying fleet under Bruce Fraser, and they are pre-positioned in the lower Baltic. Now, you cannot mine at peace. You have to be at war, but once you're at war, you can mine anywhere. The moment Germany declares war, I can immediately begin mining the Baltic. I've also set up a spy network that is slowly eroding Germany politically. Now, there's two missions I'm running here. This mission is propaganda. Propaganda is reducing stability and war support. That's the one that hurts those things. The other mission I'm running is boosting ideology. That's increasing Democratic Party support. Now, I've been doing these missions for a little while, but you need to understand something about these missions. They can only be run in an area with active networks, so your spies are going to get caught. Let me repeat that. Your spies are going to get caught. I've already lost 3 operatives outright. They're just dead, not counting operatives that keep getting caught. And then I have to go rescue the dang guys. But in order to do this, you have to keep your network active. Good news, that kills the planning bonus, which is going to nerf the German invasion of Poland. Now, it also means you need lots of spies. So yeah, the elusive gentleman becomes vitally important. You have to have all the relevant upgrades. You'll also want to be spy master. And you can tell I've been working Germany over pretty good because we've already got democratic boosted to 32%, while the war hasn't even started yet. But I am facing an uphill battle against Goebbels, because Goebbels is there with his flat 10% bonus to war support. That's why conflicting casualties and bombing is going to be so important. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just start this game up. Alright. Let me make sure I've got my guarantee on the polls. Alright, Germany's declared war. I am now in the war. We're going to go ahead and call everyone in. We're going to immediately go to the agency. Nope, I don't have any extra agents just yet. Okay, war has started. I can now begin mining the Baltic. We're right there. Let's go. Oh, I can also invite Poland into my faction. Let's go ahead and do that. That is the threshold. That gives me another agent. All right, Poland, we're here to support you. We're not going to support you with ground troops, but we are going to effectively box the Germans in. Hey, the Shadow Scheme fired. Isn't that great? And... okay, C-Zone is done. Now, the Axis have taken Gdansk, but we're going to now hit the Danish belts. I'm going to do this super fast. Come on. That's Warsaw. But we have finished the Danish belts. And now we can leave. Poland has yet to capitulate. They will capitulate in just a minute. But I've already boxed in most of Germany's coastline. And once we sneak out of the Baltic, we are now in range of British ships. So we're going to sneak out of the Baltic. Nope. German pressure towards Benelux. There goes Poland. I managed to mine 2 entire sea zones and a half of another sea zone before Poland even capitulated. So let's advance the clock to 1941 and see what's going on. I now have all of these spies, nice little group of them, and I'm able to support a network that covers the entirety of continental Germany while running 2 spies on boost ideology and 2 spies on propaganda, which has put Germany at the maximum penalty to war support and the maximum penalty to stability from foreign propaganda. I'm capped out. I can't get any more. But I also can't pull my spies off of them because if I stop the propaganda mission, Germany will recover that war support and stability. And I'm also boosting democracy. And I'm up to 40% popularity. But it's not quite enough. We're not quite at the threshold we need to be. We're still at 36%. But I want you to take a look at this tooltip. I have kept Germany engaged in combat and bombing the entire time so that I can keep bombing and combat casualties as high as possible. I'm capped out on war support penalties from bombing. Casualties, not so much, and I'm going to show you how I did it. The moment Germany declared war on Denmark, I moved divisions, specifically these 4 divisions under Alan Cunningham, to Copenhagen. And again, remember, Germany can't stop me from doing that because I have like mines everywhere, and they have to actually just seize all of this to block my access to the Baltic. And then once I put Cunningham here, I put him right here at the Straits where he can just sit there and shoot at Germans all day long. Now Cunningham is using, of course, everybody's favorite division, Space Marines. I'll show you the template here. Nothing special there, but that's not why we're winning. We're winning because I kept the airfield, which means I can put planes here. I can put planes in Norway to support as well. And guess who can't invade anything amphibiously? Oh, that's right, Germany can't. Because Germany has a hard time overcoming penalties to naval supremacy from these mines. And if they try to sally out, they end up getting their ships shot to pieces. Germany can't get through here, so Germany has been basically constantly trying to attack to break through the entire time. And I've got air power there. And did you notice I have not maximum supply, but I have good enough supply to fight these battles. See, like, my supply isn't great, but we've got enough. I wasn't able to save Yugoslavia, but we come over here, you'll notice that Greece is still fighting, because the Greeks did the right thing and held the mountains. And rather than putting my own ground troops there, you can tell that the Allies have ground troops there, but I didn't put any British troops there. But I did put 1,000 Spitfires there that are just bombing the crap out of the Axis forces when they're trying to push through mountains and hills. It's not going well for them. What it is doing is generating bombing and casualties. But the strategic bombing campaign is also having an impact on war support, but as you can tell, we're also damaging German factory output. There's something I didn't know about this, though. So I had to ask around about it. The German AI is programmed to not attack the Soviets if it still has a war with a country that has a land connection to Germany's capital. In this case, Denmark. And because there's still conflict happening in Denmark, Germany will not attack the Soviet Union, which means I have a complete free hand to defeat Germany all by myself. But I've got to get that stability down just a little bit more so I can orchestrate a coup. Oh, also, I've had 6 agents die, not counting agents I've had to rescue. Alright, by October of 41, we are actually at war with Japan, and Japan has attacked the U.S. and taken most of the Philippines. But I'm so confident in my mine-laying scheme that I don't even have divisions in Singapore or Malaya. I just have air power there because I've built so many airplanes. Got like 7,000 Spitfires, but I don't even have divisions out here because the Japanese AI can't attack any of my possessions. They're welcome to try, but they're just going to get bombed while driving slowly through the waters. We've still tied down the Axis in Greece. We are still in control of Denmark, and actually the Danish army is... What are you doing, Danish army? They're attacking into the Germans. I wish they would stop. But we have reached the threshold to orchestrate a coup. And for the low cost of 12,000 infantry kits, we will be able to cause 40% of the German army to swap over to our side. But the question is, where do we want to orchestrate our coup? Well, the answer is it needs to be a place where I can actually send my army. So we're going to do it here in Hanover. And we're going to start that process. All right, here we are in June of 42. The coup is set to go off on the 15th of June. Now, in order to support the coup, I've got 24 divisions of infantry that are Space Marines under John Verker here. And their job isn't to conduct an amphibious attack. That isn't what we're going to do. But I set the coup to happen here because with these ports under the control of the plotters of the coup, I can ship in 24 divisions just like that and get them in there. But we also control Norway and Denmark and the British Isles, so I have plenty of airfields from which I can put air power in. All right, the coup has happened, and we now have a friendly German puppet state here. Let's send my division. Oh, it looks like we got the German fleet too. The German Navy sided with the Democratic forces. Excellent. As you can see, with the reallocation of air power, since I have friendly German forces controlling friendly German airfields, I can move the RAF to the middle of Germany. And we have a port, so we can supply everyone. It's just a question of, can we get there in time? Yeah, we're going to get there in time. You know what? I think we're going to need a montage to watch the disintegration of the German state. Oh, look at that. Erwin Rommel joined the Democratic Germany. Wow, Rommel's really good at fighting when he's got British air power backing him up. Good job, guys. And I think that about wraps this up. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next time, but it'll probably be something Hearts of Iron related. I'm still waiting to see when and if the new Victoria 3 patch is going to come out anytime soon, but that hasn't happened yet. And in terms of weather is actually pretty good today. It was only mostly hot. I hope the weather's a little more temperate where you are. And until my next video, I hope you are all having a pleasant day.